Hi, Ken Walker here, and we're back on the island for a new series in the Living Island. It's going to be a little different from what I've been doing, because what I'm going to try to do is not so much the science part of it, but what I'm looking at is more of the experiential part of it, how we feel when we're here, and maybe why we feel that way. And not just here, but a lot of other places. So you're going to have to put up with some mosquitoes here today, as we are. So if we're brushing ourselves, at least you know what we're doing. So what I'm going to be doing is dealing with quotes from people. I'm not going to tell you who they are, it doesn't matter. But the whole idea is people who have looked at what is called now ecology spirituality. And the whole idea is that ecology is the interdependence of living things. No man is an island in a sense. But at the same time, it's looking beyond what we see, what we hear, what we touch. In a sense, it's the essence behind the substance. Because I want people to come to the island and experience what I have a tendency to call presence. And it's literally the presence, like you can hear that crow, it has its presence. The tree has its presence. The soil has its presence. And when we come to places like this, well, we can ignore it and just be focused on ourselves, or to open ourselves to that and let it be part of us, which is different. So what I'm going to do is read this first. What we are visiting upon the earth is rooted in urgent spiritual and moral questions, and requires from us a spiritual and moral response. It is a reality that we must respond to, and changes the way we live. For the well-being of the earth is not separate from the well-being of our souls. It's been a kind of a long time since the Industrial Revolution began. And prior to that, people were more, I'll say, in tune with the earth. Not everybody, but people were more in tune with the earth because they lived closer to the earth. They didn't have the infrastructure we have. They didn't have the cities the way we're laid out today. They didn't have the automobile or communications or anything. Most people literally lived and died just a few miles from where they were born. Today, you can go around the world as many times as you want. And we've lost touch with the earth itself. I'm standing right now on sand and rocks. There's water here, you hear the crow, there's a tree there, there's grass. That's the earth. But how many times do we feel part of it? How many times do we recognize it? Or is it just there, and if it's in the way, we cut it down, or if it's turned it into a commodity, we cut it down and not worry about it. We don't see the living earth as a living earth. That's what this is turning about. That when the earth is healthy, we're healthy. When the earth is at peace, we're at peace. When the earth beckons us and we come to it, we're into a relationship that we haven't had. You know, there's a difference between walking through a wood, say like here on the main trail on the island, and walking down the center of a mall. It's kind of the same. You got the center, you got shops on each side. Here we got trees on each side. You can go in the shops, you can buy something, You bring it home and you're done. And it sort of made no difference as long as you got what you wanted. Here you can come. If you want to experience mosquitoes, you can come right now. Or any time into September. Or come across when it's all frozen and see what the island looks like on snowshoes. Each time you're going to see a different island. An island that reveals itself through the course of time and season. And you can be part of that. That's the beauty of it. And we're losing that sense. Everybody wears a watch today. Everybody has got a cell phone, and everybody's finding out, what time is it? Well, it's now. That's all. You've got now. Are you being intimate with now? Or are you just waiting for the next now to come? Or you're ahead because you got to be someplace at some time. So now doesn't matter. You're worrying about that. And not only time passes, but life passes. We're visiting upon the earth problems. And it requires something from within, that spiritual part of us that goes beyond the physical and the mental and moral. The earth, we are of the earth. We were created out of this stuff. We're no different from anything you find in the universe. We just take this shape. And there's a morality in negating that, because what you see behind me, the earth, is where we've come from and can't be separated from. People want to go to Mars today and the moon. I'm an earthling. I want to be here. This is my mother behind me. And the thing is, what we do to it, we do to ourselves. And I think really we're out of touch with who we are, not as a physical being, not as an intellectual being, but as a spiritual being. It says here, it is our mindset that has caused this imbalance. The belief that we are separate from nature, and the deepest part of our separateness from nature lies in the forgetfulness of its sacredness. That is the connection between our souls and the soul of the world. Knowing that we are all part of one living spiritual being. I mean, here we are on the earth. The earth is part of the solar system. Solar system is part of the Milky Way galaxy. Milky Way galaxy is one of billions of galaxies in the universe. In one sense, we're nothing. And yet we think we're the center of the universe. Existentially, we are. The whole universe starts right here in my head. But the universe doesn't really care about that. And that's the problem. The thing that connects us is at the spiritual dimension. The very fact of existence, of being. The universe is being. Milky Way is being. The earth is being. I'm being at the moment, and everything here is being. We're all connected at that level, no matter what form we take. That's immaterial. It says many earlier peoples, keep that in mind, experienced the natural world as a presence, beyond appearance. That is the source from which humans were born, nourished, protected, guided, and the destiny to which we return. Together with the natural world and the cosmic world, the human world forms a meaningful threefold community of existence. Well, that threefold community of existence is a trinity. When you think about it, the universe is the big part. Without it, nothing exists. The earth is where we've been placed, and here I am standing in this spot. The more I'm connected to the earth from literally this spot, and then from the earth to the universe that's out there in infinity, I'm connected to everything there is. There's no separation. It's only in the mind that I'm different from this log down here or that rock over there or the next person next to me. Well, in form, yes. In space, yes. But not at that level we call spirit or essence or whatever else you want to call it. There's that whole idea in the what we call, traditional peoples. We're talking about life before the Industrial Revolution, 1760 if you want to date. People lived in cities. People mostly lived in villages and towns. Some people just lived out in the bush. But everyone was in touch with the earth because they had to be. There was nothing else. You can build a house out of stone, but you still have to need the stones. And again, the infrastructure wasn't there in the sense of, your waste had to be dealt with. You didn't just flush it. That's what we do today. If we don't like it, we flush it. We don't buy it. Things like that. Everything is other than us instead of part of us. And when we live like that, we have problems. It says here, we have lost our connection to this deeper reality. Nothing is holy, nothing is sacred, no wonder, nothing unspoiled. It's a world without meaning. We have lost the presence to be revered and communed with. And when I read that for the first time, it really struck me because I see it in younger people. And maybe it's just an element of age. But the older I've got, I have searched for meaning more. It's not about stuff. You can have all the stuff in the world and still be empty. But when you have meaning, you're filled. If I look up at the sky today, which is pretty well overcast except some blue over there, what meaning do I derive from that? I can know that it's cloud. I can know what a cloud is. I can know the temperature, the humidity, and everything else. But do I find meaning in this moment? I mean, in one sense, you could look at it metaphorically. It's a cloudy day, but up north, the blue sky is dawning, and the sun will shine and all will be well. That's meaning. Or you can look at it, it's a cloudy day, it ain't worth getting up for. It's how we look at life and then how we respond to life. But we seem, especially in the digital world, to be more interested in the facts. I know this. Knowledge is power today. Well, knowledge without understanding and meaning is empty. I mean, 2 + 2 is 4. I don't have a problem with that. That's knowledge. But the thing is, when you look at life, I hope it's more than 2 + 2 = 4. But when you listen to the news and stuff, it doesn't appear to be. We've lost that communion with where we've come from, our source, the universe itself, and then with each other because we've lost it within. And when I'm not in communion with me, which means my spiritual side, my intellectual side, my physical side, my emotional side, when those are 4 different compartments like 4 stores in the mall, who am I? I have no meaning unto myself. How can I give it to anything else? That becomes the problem. Next quote says, "It's the sacred which evokes depth of wonder and awe." Now, the sacred. Okay, it sounds like a religious term right away, but it's deeper than that. That's the thing. When something is sacred, it's rare to begin with. It doesn't happen all the time. May not even happen in one's lifetime, but they hear about it. If that doesn't happen, they don't believe it. But the sacred is something that evokes in us a sense of wonder and awe. I think every child, or most children, let's put it that way, has an understanding of the sacred. They wouldn't term it that way. But being a child, when the world is still pretty much unknown, we don't have all the facts, You can look at something, I still do this. Look at this pile of rock. Now, for most people, it would be a pile of rock. So what? Well, first of all, there's history here. There's geological history, there's human history, there's natural history, and, you know, if you can't look at this and go, wow, for whatever the reason, what does it take to impress you? A child could take rocks and skim them on the water. It's a sense of wonder. Look what I'm doing. I'm defying gravity by this thing. And our childhood playtime is mostly that. We're suspending time. Now, time is money. And you got to be frugal with it. So get on with it and forget this nonsense here because it's just a pile of rock. Well, once you have an attitude like that, one, you're not a child. And how happy are you in a world that has no meaning, just facts? Well, once you get past 2 + 2 = 4, you kind of summed it up already. This quote really got me. Going from the sacred with wonder and awe, it says, as such, Earth becomes the primary revelation, the primary scripture, and the universe itself is the primary incarnation. And by the way, that was from a Franciscan. But I really, really took to heart with that. When you think of the Hebrew scriptures, in the beginning, God creates the universe. We're not here. The universe is here. And God said it was good. That's the primary revelation. That's the incarnation. It came out of nothing, and there it is. That is incarnation. It takes form. Essence becomes substance. You had a universe. And then the earth. I mean, we're figuring it out. It's 4.56 billion years old or something like that. I have no idea what that means. It's just a lot of zeros. But it's been around a long time. It's experienced a lot. It knows how to make these things. Knows how to make us. And we disregard it. Wait a minute. If the universe was good and the earth was good, we just disregard it? Or worse, we commodify it? We use it? We chuck it when we're done with it? That's how we feel about revelation and scripture and incarnation? Give me a break. We need to awaken our inner consciousness and seek guidance to perceive an unfolding meaning that surrounds us. I mean, when you wake up in the morning, and I have a cup of tea. If you can sit there and go, I am so happy to be alive because my life is filled with meaning that I have the opportunity to live today, to experience it. Wow, that's worth getting out of bed for. And there'll be some people, and I've been there myself, you go, oh, I've got to go to that work again today, I've got to deal with this person today and all of that other stuff you don't want to do. You sit there and go, why am I breathing? Why am I alive? Well, that's depressing because people don't have the meaning they're looking for. They have a void instead. And you can't live with a void. Nature abhors a vacuum. It won't let us live like that. And you see it in the news all the time. A person's appropriate relationship with the natural world should be a yearning for convergence with nature, nostalgia for a lost intimacy with the natural world, and a feeling for the mystery of nature. That's what sacred is all about. In a sense, it's another way of looking at God, however you define that. Because the whole idea is we want We want to be connected. We don't want to be an island, sorry, because an island is separated. We want to be connected, and we don't feel that. Even with the internet, I've talked to so many people. I go to this group and this group and this group. Have you ever met them? No, but we meet on Thursday nights at 6. Well, you can't have a relationship through the internet, or a marriage, or a family. You got to be there. You got to do it together. That's what the earth is beckoning us to do, to come home and live with it, not against it. We've lost our intimacy. People come to this island, they walk the trails, and they feel like strangers in a strange land. What am I doing here? And there's a lot of fear. You know, I've been on the Rocky Mountains and stuff, and way up north, and yeah, there's big animals out there that could eat you. I have no problem with that, common sense. But at the same time, it's still in the back of our ancient memories that we did walk those paths and those big animals were out there. And we realized how vulnerable we are. And they're bigger. That's the problem. And we want to dominate. We want that power. We have technology now. And then we can do what we want to the earth and all its creatures. There's no mystery anymore. That's the problem. Every kid, I remember as a kid looking at shadows. Shadows fascinated me. And I remember being in university dealing with Plato and his analogy of the cave, where the people had a fire and they sat around it, but then they noticed the shadows on the wall. The shadows, ooh. Were they real? Well, yeah, they were there. But what created them? Well, the fire and me blocking the light. It's like an eclipse. And then Carl Jung, when he applied that to psychology, the whole thing is, yeah, we've got all this consciousness going. And what we don't like, especially about ourselves, we repress. But it doesn't go away. You can't flush it. You can't delete it. There's no button for it. When we repress it, it becomes part of our shadow existence. This is the appearance right here. That's not the shadow. The shadow is the thing we don't want to deal with, but that's the problem. We don't have, it's a mystery. I'm a mystery to me. I don't understand why I'm here or what life is or any of this. But that doesn't mean you negate it. It means you enter into it and allow it to reveal itself to you on its terms, not on my terms. This is the last quote I'm going to do. The most significant education provided by nature is not information, but a transformation of the mind. We spend how many decades in education, and we get all that information. I have one book at home, and only one book at home, that I saved from all my university education. It's about philosophy, but it was worth keeping. Everything else went by the wayside because I was changing, my situation changed. I don't like a lot of baggage. But the whole idea is, did any of it transform me? You take a child in kindergarten, and you start telling it 1, 2, 3, ABC, and you get on with that, and then, you know, you go right to the PhD. But how much of that experience changed you? Knowing it was not enough, that's a fact. We're back to 2 + 2. But the whole idea is, when you experience something, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally, does it change you, profoundly change you at your deepest level? Well, in a sense, that's where I'm going to go with this series. I'm just hoping you come along with me. In the meantime, take care.